What's going on, everybody? My name is Milton Craig Spence III, and I am coming to you here to discuss something that I believe is very important. Now, I have just joined the drone community, if you will. I do have an FPV. I have a DJI Avata 2. I also have a DJI Air 3S. Now, as I've been flying here, I'm noticing, a lot of this select group of people, this select club of folks, where there's a lot of self-righteous people within it. A lot of people have a lot to say about how you fly, where you fly, what you do. It seems to be a lot of perfectionists, a lot of piling on. I put up a video about how the FAA came down on me. Now, let me explain what happened in that situation. This is my first time ever facing something like this. I didn't know about it. I didn't understand it. I didn't even know what they were talking about when they were talking about it. Only thing I understood was restricted airspace. When I turned on my DJI Air 3S controller, I was always told that controller, if connected to the internet, would then update me and say if I could fly in that position or not. That's what I researched online as well. It wasn't until I met these FAA agents that I realized that you could download an app called Air Controllers directly tied to the FAA per their standards and says whether there's any type of restricted airspace in place. Now, the blessing is, when they went to look this up on their air control app, that TFR was not there. Not where I was on the beach, but where I was flying, because I have an RFID controller. I have the DJI RC2 controller. They were able to find me without a problem. I didn't run. I brought the drone right back over to them. I gave it to them and said, here you go, do your thing. Now, what pissed me off the most is the aggression. Now, I have nothing against these gentlemen. I'm pretty sure they deal with people who probably are not complying, but they deal with some things where they felt the need to be aggressive with me off the rip. Now, I understand terrorism. I understand these things. But when it comes down to flight, when it comes down to doing something recreational that was supposed to be fun, or for the fact that I want to dabble in filmmaking, I want to do things that have to do with storytelling, I didn't think it was a problem. Right. So I brought the drone over to them, and then they told me, you got to do this, you got to do that. You didn't know that. And I was like, no. It wasn't until the second agent, who himself also flies drones, chimed in and said, look, I understand these things can be a lot of red tape, and there's a lot that goes on with these things that they don't necessarily tell you. When he told me, do not depend on the DJI RC2 controller to tell me whether there's any type of TFR space. It will tell you how high you can go, but it won't tell you if you're restricted to fly. Everybody knows where to check that fly list in the DJI Fly app or on your controller itself. But the thing that ticks me off the most is the fact that there's so many people who jump in the comment sections and have a lot to say about it. You have every right to say whatever you want, but let's not operate as if I didn't put the video out for other people who also may be like me to pile on to the fact that somebody makes a mistake. That's why I put the video out. At this point, 3 days away from taking my Part 107, and I'm almost to the point where being, I guess, the rest of everybody, but I don't feel as if I'm that special because I'll have a Part 107. When it comes down to the FAA and what they're doing, when it comes down to drones in the sense of how they are with DJI, do I understand the need to have laws in order to protect us? Yes. But do I also think there's some sort of overstepping going on here, because it makes you feel like you can't do anything? For goodness sakes, I put up a video. I had my DJI Avata 2. I had the goggles on, and little did you guys know I had a spotter. But everybody's in the comments telling me, you got to have a spotter. You got to have a spotter. It's people like you who don't know. Relax. Nobody died and made you the sultan of drones. And telling a person online, you're going to ruin it for the rest of us. One person who's flying around over the ocean, if there's anything I'm going to do, I'm going to damage my own drone by putting it in the ocean. Not going to put it on a person or hit a person. In that case, guys, we might as well not be able to fly. We might as well just give up the hobby that we have, because it's a hobby for a lot of us. Some of us use it to make money. Some people get on here just to do a review of it and make money off the views. How many of y'all are flying drones on a day in and day out basis in order to capture things for movies or do things for commercials? How many? I'm pretty sure the number of people who have a Part 107 who don't even utilize it for anything that is good for, except for to say that you're quote unquote legal, when technically speaking, you don't need it unless you're making money with it or using it in a commercial operation, which I plan on doing. Why can't we fly above and just enjoy what we're seeing from a different perspective without bending the knee to rules that don't make sense? It's okay to write your governor. It's okay to write people in Congress and tell them what you think. It's okay to speak back. It's okay to say, these rules make no sense. It's okay to say, these rules don't apply to me, so I believe that it should not be applied. It just means that it's okay to speak back. And if everybody stops bending the knee to things that don't make any sense, then it can stop being cracked down upon as if I'm erroneously or you're erroneously going out there to do something to harm the airspace. I believe everybody needs to have RFID on their controllers. I believe we need to know where folks are and have some type of form of checks and balance. But my goodness, it makes you feel like you can't fly anywhere. $5,000 fines. It feels very restrictive. To be a part of the community also feels as if there's an elitist mind state, and I don't like it. Whether you care, not my prerogative. But I know for me, I would love it if we could work together as a community to have rules and regulations put in place that are common sense versus restrictive things where it's like, hey, you can't go higher than 400 feet unless you got unlocked airspace and all these things. Okay, in that case, because you have RFID, couldn't there be something in place to check that for you? And doesn't it have it in there where you can set how high you want to go on these things to protect yourself and other people? It should be there to utilize. So I believe wholeheartedly, this is just me. If somebody tells you where you cannot go, especially on a restrictive basis like this, in the sense of United States government, if they're telling you cannot be up there, what they're really telling you is, we don't want you up in a place where you can see things you wouldn't see from your POV on the ground. Sounds like conspiracy, or it could be something real. I don't know. I've heard of people flying their drones into aircrafts and things of that nature, but that also is because those people sometimes were careless or didn't have it within line of sight, or they had a drone that was smaller, didn't have a RFID, didn't have a course corrective on it, didn't have any of the things that some of these drones do have. And it throws me off. But either way, it is my hope that these regulations will change. I know this is probably another video where people say, oh, that's the reason why we're able to have open discourse, because truly I could care less about disagreements. I don't mind disagreements. I don't mind people telling me I'm stupid or wrong, because it helps all of us learn. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. So can we stop the elitist community? Just help a person out and stop putting yourself over another person. We're all the same. You're human. I'm human. Simple and plain. Let's do this thing where we can actually enjoy flying. Peace.